Welcome to the Voices of the Elephant podcast. Each episode of Voices of the Elephant brings you an interview with a member of the PHP community. From project leaders to user group organizers, we talk to the people that are helping make the PHP community special. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Voices of the Elephant. My name is Cal Evans. I'm your host, and my special guests today are Mr. Brandon Savage and Mr. Adam Culp. Say hi to everybody, Brandon.
Hi.
Very nice. I resisted the urge to go, what up, B-Dog, which is usually how I greet you on Skype. So
It is.
We've been hanging out on Skype way too many years. And of course, always present, my good friend, Mr. Adam Culp of Sunshine PHP. So hi, everybody, Adam.
Woohoo! Hey, everyone.
You got to be sweating bullets. We're starting to get close, aren't we?
We are, and and we've got some exciting sponsors that just came on board. So I'm really excited. This is really coming together nicely.
That is awesome. Hey, it's fun to have all three of us here because all three of us at one point last year worked for the same company. We all worked for Zen/RogueWave there for a little while. And, so it's kind of a reunion here, and it's good to have both of y'all on. Brendan, speaking of jobs, you've got a new job. You're over at Phone Burner with Tim Lytle?
With Tim and with some other people, JC, who did Wave PHP, and some other folks. It's a really great experience working with some very smart individuals, doing some very interesting work. So I'm really excited about that new opportunity.
JC, is that John Condon?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure we called him out. Yeah, I know John and thoroughly enjoyed Wave PHP. Man, that was a fun conference. That conference wins the award for the coolest venue because it was actually a resort there in San Diego, and so it was awesome. Well, what do y'all do?
The food was spectacular. So I can't divulge obviously anything internal, but I am working on the main system that we have for making outbound calls. So a lot of the political campaigns used us back for calling and reminding people to vote and things of that nature. But we don't do robo calling. We do robo dialing. There's always a live person at the other end of the phone. So we are a dialer assist tool rather than a robocalling tool.
Well, I guess in that space, whenever you say telephony, I usually think Twilio and who's Mike Stowe with?
Neximo?
No, not Neximo.
Oh.
That's Amanda. Amanda's with Neximo and Lorna Jean.
Ring Central.
Ring Central, yeah. How do you differ from, say, Twilio?
Well, Twilio provides the services and the APIs that would allow you to build something similar to what we do. Now, when we started a long time before those tools existed. So we actually have code that interfaces with phone systems. But Twilio makes it easy through APIs and the like to just, plug in your code and a lot of the new stuff we're doing makes use of some of those components.
Very cool. That is very neat. I know that's got to be fun, and sounds like y'all have got a great crew to work with, which that's kind of half the battle these days is getting the right people on the job.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about the talk that you're going to do at Sunshine. Before we do that, let's talk a little bit about Sunshine and about Day Camp for Developers. Of course, we've got Sunshine coming up. Adam, what are the dates?
February 7th is the tutorial day, and the 8th and 9th are the official days of the conference.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm coming down the 7th, sometime on the 7th. I get to take the train down, so it's fun.
Coming down, you make it sound like it's a long way, but
what, hour and a half? But I'll be down there and then hanging out all day Friday and Saturday. I actually get to attend this year, although I am bringing a couple slide decks, and I think I'm going to do some Uncon talks. If all goes well, this keynote that I'm writing, I'm actually going to do as an Uncon talk just to get some practice in.
And don't feel too left out. We'll find something for you to do.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Yeah, I'm sure you will. No, it's I'm actually looking forward to actually attending a conference because it's been so long since I've been able to do that. And Sunshine is the one that I want to have that experience at. So that's going to be great. Hey, speaking of conferences, everybody should go to a conference. I love conferences. They're a great way to meet and learn things. But if you can't make it to a conference, I run a virtual conference called Day Camp for Developers. And you get more information on that at daycamp4developers.com. And we got another event coming up in January. So we'd love to see you there. Brandon, you're one of the speakers at Sunshine. And of course, you've been speaking for a very long time, but at PHP conferences. Talk to us about tell us about your talk. Give us a taste of it.
So I'm giving 2 talks. One is on practical object-oriented design principles. The other one is on what I call the 10 commandments of object-oriented development. So they're very similar in nature. One is longer than the other. I can't remember if it's an actual tutorial or if it's just a longer time slot, but it is a longer talk. And both of them are focused on the principles of object-oriented design. So I bring in things like the solid principles, the law of Demeter, some of the anti-patterns that exist in object-oriented programming, some of the tools and tips and tricks and techniques like action domain responder that have come out in the past few years, the PSRs that have come out, 7, 15, and we talk about how those things impact object-oriented design in a modern object-oriented application. And that's the main focus of those 2 talks.
Very cool. Now, PHP, you talk about PSRs, and 7 and 15, a lot of people conflate those two, because 15 is what, messaging, HTTP messaging?
What I call the middle. So 7 is the HTTP messages themselves. So if I'm remembering my PSRs correctly, and we can look it up to double check, but so you make an HTTP request and you turn it into this blob of PHP that represents the message.
Okay.
And then 15 basically defines some the middleware on which you can send those messages for the purposes of processing those messages in somewhat of a framework type style. So I call it the middleware PSR, although it's not technically the middleware PSR. I think it's called something else.
Well, very cool. Hey, of your 10 commandments, which is your favorite? Your 10 commandments of object-oriented programming. Give us your favorite.
Well, I haven't finished writing the talk just yet, but I think my favorite principle or my favorite concept that I teach, and I think the one that's the most important, is to invert your dependencies. And what I mean by that is relying on an abstraction, so an interface, an abstract class, or something like that for your dependencies, so that you can hint on them effectively, so that you can work with them effectively, so that you can test them effectively. And to me, that's cool. Core principles.
Thank you for delving in and explaining what that was, because I was kind of unsure. But now that you describe it, I've heard you talk about this before, and you're right. It's a good principle. Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us today on Voices of the Elephant. Adam, thank you for taking time away from the beach. Yeah, he turned his camera around and showed us, because, Adam lives at the beach, so we all know, yada, yada, yada. But I want to thank you both for taking the time to be here. And thank you, audience, for tuning in for another episode of Voices of the Elephant. And we'll see you right here next episode. Thanks for listening to Voices of the Elephant. Voices of the Elephant is copyright EICC Incorporated and released under a Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Share and Share Alike license. To nominate someone to be a guest on Voices of the Elephant, visit our website and click on the Nominate link. The URL is voicesoftheelephant.com. Elephant is, of course, spelled ELEPHPANT.